Shalom, shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahshua, B'Hashem, Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, the GMS, the rule and teach well scriptures, citations, the Akim, that are doing this work in truth and faith and in all sincerity. Basically, today's lesson is just going to be a reflection of what's going on, basically reporting in the news about the war that's going on over there in the so-called Middle East, which is at the Gaza Strip, which are small hats versus the Arabics out there, which both are fighting for land that belongs to neither one of them. And so you have to understand that the Arabs, they got into the land at a certain time, right around the era of Constantine. And so that's when they obtained and got into the Holy Land, and the small hats got into the land during 1948. Okay, which the land only belongs to the children of Israel, which you Negroes, Latinos, you Native Americans. Okay, you speckled bird, which are the Israelites that look like the other nations, but seed line goes back to the children of Israel. Okay, their seed line goes back to that Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. Now, we can get right into it. This is a little thing that's going on. One of the titles says, Israel says it will increase the attacks on Gaza. Israel and Hamas war. Okay, this happened 6 hours ago. I don't know this lady's name, but she's reporting. And so I'll just let this play.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products. It's Amazon's other company, Audible. Audible pays me $8,000 to $10,000 every single month in passive income, and I'm not the only one. People like Katrina and Carla, Elena, Renee, all making thousands of dollars a month in passive income using the same system.
Just this past month, I reached $8,000 in revenue, and I'm on track to reach $10,000 in revenue.
Awaiting a ground invasion. That is something that we have been hearing out for a number of days, but you're right, they have indicated tonight that they plan to intensify their actions moving forward. But Jane, I've got to say, we were down at the northern border of Gaza this morning, and the Israeli artillery was firing really heavily into it, pretty repetitively, the ongoing boom, boom, boom. So we will be interested to see if we see an uptick of that come morning tomorrow. Down in the south today, guys, a big breakthrough. We saw the opening of the Rafah crossing, that crucial crossing between Egypt and southern Gaza, allowing for the first rollout of humanitarian aid into there, food, water, shelter and medicine. Medicine's so important given that hospitals there are facing really an unthinkable situation. We're seeing surgeons operating by torchlight. Some of them have completely run out of anaesthetic in the hospital, so hopefully some of that aid is in their hands. Only 20 trucks were allowed in, and I think we need to point that out because that is really just a drop in the ocean in terms of what is needed. And no fuel was allowed in either, and fuel is needed to power the hospital's generators. Palestinian officials telling me here today that they think that 500 trucks are needed on a daily basis to get Gaza back on its feet.
Salaki, I start off with this. This is Joel chapter 3 verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again a captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will put them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, which they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have gotten a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, says Yahweh Yahushai, will I return your recompense upon your own head. So there's nothing that you can say, do, will make the Most High forgive you for what you've done to his children. Our people are battered and destroyed in so many different ways. And so the only alternative to that is recompense. Okay, you can't give money to a person that owns everything. And so the Most High owns everything. Guess what? His people, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, Israel, receives that inheritance because Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai owns it. And so with that being said, there's a penalty and a punishment to pay for what the heathen nations have done to the children of Israel. There's a recompense to pay for what Esau, Edom, Amalek, the rest of the heathen nations, okay? And the Lord is so fair that he's even destroying 2/3 of our own people for partaking in the wickedness of the other nations. I digress.
We have children, babies in incubators who could die because of lack of electricity. We have many patients with kidney dialysis who will die because they cannot get kidney dialysis. We have 5,000.
These are not the people by any means, okay? The people are the ones that are building your schools, your buildings. Those are the children of Israel. They're in the servitude circumstance. Okay? But the Most High is about to destroy the headship. He's going to destroy whatever Esau, Edom has set up. And he's going to put his people back in power.
500 pregnant women who are giving birth this month, and some of them have given birth already in the streets.
The United Nations is hoping now that we've seen the first round of trucks go in, that their own trucks might be able to start going in come Monday. But look, guys, there is no indication that that will happen. And there's also no indication that this border will open to foreign nationals. Many hundreds that have been...
Salaki, Shabbat Shalom.
Queuing there for many days now, hoping to get out, and those foreign nationals include a now confirmed 45 Australians that are stuck in the Palestinian enclave. Guys?
Keeping across developments there, Ali Petrowski in Tel Aviv, thank you.
So live now to US correspondent Lauren Tomasi, who's at the White House for us. Lauren, good morning. President Joe Biden there has spoken with the 2 released American hostages.
He has, Clint, the US President expressing absolute relief that the Chicago area locals Judith Renan and her 17-year-old daughter Natalie are now safe. And we do have a fresh image just into the newsroom of that mother and daughter being embraced by relatives after finally crossing over the Gaza border and into safety. Such a moment of relief in what has been an horrific couple of weeks. The US President making that phone call to the mother and daughter just after.
At Amazon Freight, we know the only thing better than having a friend with a truck is having a friend with a...
After they had crossed over that border after being held hostage by Hamas. They spoke from the safety of the US Embassy in Jerusalem. Joe Biden saying he's so happy that they are now safe, but he acknowledged that there are more American hostages still inside the enclave.
Mr. President, here's Judith and
Hey, Judith.
Hello, President.
I'm so glad you're home. I'm not home. I'm glad you're out.
Thank you so very, very much.
I don't know what they pumping this man up with, but he should have died a long time ago. And Salaki, he should have he should have been deleted a long time ago.
Nat, how are you? God love you.
I just want to say thank you for your services for Israel.
Well, I look, that's been long serving. I'm just delighted we're able to get you out. We've been working on it a long time. We're gonna get them all out, God willing.
The US has now firmly involved itself in this unfolding conflict, and that will be...
Now things can only escalate from here, you know, Lord willing. But if it dies down, we understand that too, that the Lord is building, you know, this particular war so that all the nations can get involved. And so if it does die down, okay, the Lord got something bigger planned, and he's gonna blow the lid. He's gonna blow the top right off, the top and the lid right off the pot. Okay, he's about the shock factor this going on. He's gonna shock the whole world. One day you just gonna look up, the next day you gonna be at war. Okay, not it's building now, but we talking about full-fledged full-fledged draft type of world war, and not skirmishes, which is what's going on now.
A topic high on the agenda between US President Joe Biden and our own leader, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, when he travels here this week for an official state visit. The PM will be departing Sydney today en route to DC, and of that week of diplomacy, not only will they be discussing what is currently unfolding in the Middle East, but also our own security interests, the likes of AUKUS, the main centrepiece of this week here in Washington DC will be an Oval Office meeting between the two leaders, and later on a state dinner where a number of Australians will be there involved, but this week will be overshadowed by the current crisis. Clint?
Sure will. Lauren Tomasi there at the White House, thank you so much. And now it's time to say good morning to Sophie with more news.
Thank you, Clint. Good morning. Back home, and Foreign Minister Penny Wong will today address a vigil in Adelaide, standing with Australia's Jewish community. 300 people are expected to attend the event, including state leaders. It will take place an hour after a pro-Palestinian rally is due to begin on the steps of Parliament House this afternoon. There have been strong calls for peace in Gaza across our capital cities. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators taking to the streets in Sydney, Brisbane and Perth yesterday. Up to 15,000 people were estimated to have attended the peaceful march in Sydney CBD, the largest since the conflict broke out. The final repatriation flight has landed in Australia with nearly 100 Aussies touching down in Perth. It's the last flight scheduled to bring those fleeing the conflict back home.
The fear of it getting worse was kind of what pushed us over the edge, and my wife's about to give birth, so we had to make a move quickly.
At this stage, more than 1,500 Australians have returned home from the war-stricken region.
News this morning that the first aid trucks have finally been allowed to enter Gaza as Israel signals its assault on the region will intensify. That all comes as two American hostages, a mother and daughter, Judith and Natalie Ranan, have been reunited with their family after being released by Hamas.
Don't worry, they're going to pay. If they don't pay now, immediately they will pay in the kingdom of heaven for sure. Okay, the kingdom of heaven is when Israel's perfect, all right, and they're under the rule of Yahweh Shai, which is under the rule of Yahweh in its perfection. This is the kingdom of heaven, and not so much the kingdom for the wicked.
For more now, we're joined by
This is Zechariah chapter 2, verse 8. For thus said the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations, which spoil you. And so who are the nations that spoil Israel? Basically all the nations. Okay. The top dog that's sitting in the top seat is Amalek, which is of the house of Esau. Esau, Edom. The nations which spoiled you, for he that toucheth you, he that toucheth Israel, toucheth the apple of his eye. That means you committed a major offense by harming the children of Israel. And there's not enough land on the planet that you can run to stop this judgment.
Former CIA operative Robert Baer in Colorado. Good morning to you, Robert. Thanks for joining us. I want to ask you about the hostages first. How was their release negotiated?
It was negotiated through Qatar, which funds Hamas either privately or the government, and the connections are very good. In fact, the Hamas leadership, a lot of it is in Doha. The Qataris are the only interlocutors with Hamas that Hamas will listen to, and they negotiated this. It's clearly at this point Hamas needs to change the narrative, and to do this, they're releasing hostages, non-Israeli hostages.
I've also seen some reports coming out of Al Jazeera this morning that Hamas is saying that it is trying to release more hostages, but Israel is knocking that back. Where do you see this scenario with the hostages going from here?
Well, I think as the Israelis prepare to enter Gaza, you're going to see more and more Western European hostages released to undercut support for Israel, to make Hamas appear that it's more rational than it is. And so I think we'll see a couple more. But then again, we don't know when the Israelis are going in. It's clear to me that they don't feel comfortable right now because they would run into a real battle.
Yes, we've heard Israel speaking for a few days that a ground assault into Gaza is imminent. But of course, with all those hostages there, that makes things very complicated for them. Do you think this is part of Hamas trying to buy time on that invasion?
I think they're doing more than trying to buy time. They're trying to convince the Israelis not to invade. I mean, I think they will. But they're also looking for support around the Middle East, especially the Arab countries. On Saturday there was a summit in Cairo. Everybody was invited except the United States and Israel, of course. So I think they're trying to win the diplomatic war on these hostages, and Netanyahu is simply ignoring it. Again, he can't rescue the hostages. They're being held in tunnels in places they can't find, and that they know that their fate is very precarious.
Now, they're trying to do this to gain more control and more access. Slovakia. They're trying to do this to gain more control and more access and more power by uprooting Ishmael from the land so that he can have more dominance and control over that region and that area. But this is what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua says. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 27 verse 26. Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that setteth a trap shall be taken therein. He that worketh mischief, it shall fall upon him, and he shall not know whence it cometh. And so they think they got this jam tight. Whatever situation they orchestrated to get to power, but Yahweh Hashem Yahushua's got different plans.
Precarious when the Israelis go in.
What do you see happening from here? How soon do you think Israel will go in with ground forces?
I think as soon as they've softened up the target in northern Gaza, that's why they're trying to move the population south. They're not doing a very good job of it, but they're trying to empty northern Gaza of people, and then they'll go in so that anybody staying behind is a combatant. Otherwise, the Israelis in the past have lost a lot of soldiers going into Gaza. It's not an easy place to fight.
What does that mean for the fate of the hostages that are still in Gaza?
I was afraid you were going to ask that. It's the chances of them getting through Israeli ground invasion alive are remote.
Right, and the humanitarian situation on the ground in Gaza we know is dire. We know 20 aid trucks have been allowed to get in through the Rafah crossing, but people who are on the ground there say they need 500 trucks a day. Do you see the likelihood of any more aid being able to get through?
Not right now. It's a drop in the ocean what's gotten through, and it's getting worse by the day. There's potable water. There is none. No electricity. No backup generators for hospitals. It's a very young population. A lot of kids are being born. You're just going to see this get worse by the hour.
Well, our thoughts are with the civilians on all sides of this conflict, because it is not a good situation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we really don't have any love for those people that's over there, because they have contributed to the downfall of our people. And so I made this short and sweet. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kadash. Again, double honors to the apostles and the elders, the GMS, ruling and teaching the scriptures, salutations to our king that are doing this word in truth, and making their bodies a living sacrifice. Okay, so that we may be saved, and so that we may have the promise, and so we may, we want the promise, so we act on it. And so with that, I say shalom.